Hey guys, Chuck here with you today, and we're getting ready to tie up the little blue Glacier right here. Excellent little crappie jig, 1/8 ounce, plus it is a killer for those white bass when they get ready to start running up the river during the spring. What we're getting geared up and ready for, and it's just a nice little versatile jig, a super simple little tie that gets the job done for you when you're out there fishing. So let's get ready and let's tie the blue Glacier. Okay, guys, what you need to get this little blue Glacier jig tied up, if you're going to be buying like blank jig heads or unfinished, I went with a LA Colors. Remember the stickers up here on the colors has got the hardeners in them, makes it a much better fingernail polish. I used a white as a base coat. And then with these kind of funny like colors, you sometimes have to use the gel. And this right here is LA Colors, and this is called Splashy. We added a coat of it, and you'll be fine if you add like 2 or 3, thin coats of Sally Hansen Hard as Nail Hardener. That'll protect these fingernail polish on these jig heads very well. But today we're going to be using some UV resin on it. And for the hair, you can go with bucktail, or I like going with this synthetic hair that I picked up at Hobby Lobby. It's really manageable to work with, less maintenance, and it looks really good in the water on these jigs. And then we're going to be adding some light blue flashing to the jig, and we're going to be using Danville's. This is an A in the nylon thread, and we'll go ahead and get this started up here. Now I like running all the way back to the tip of the hook and then back up about halfway. And the first thing we're going to add is like 3 strands of this blue flashing coming off the tail end of this jig right here, just to give it a little extra flash toward the back. Try to keep that as flush as possible. And then we're going to get right in the middle of it here where we had cut it, and we're going to try to make us a loop. Sometimes this is a little awkward to work with when you're trying to make a loop out of it. But we'll get us a loop made. It doesn't have to be squared up or anything like that. It's just going to be coming right out of that tail section anyway. And I like for it to go down to about right up on this boat right here. That's about 1 inch back, 3/4 inch back or so. And I'll lay it right on top of the shank of that hook, and I'll give it about 3 wraps, and then I'll see what I got here. That looks pretty good when I push it down there. And then I'll hold it down with my index finger, and then I'm just going to give it some wraps and lock it in here. There we go. Now at this point, I'm going to go ahead and cut these and just let them lay back there on the vise, and I'm going to remove this excess flashing that we got right here. Dispose of it, and then I'm going to bring my thread back up to the back of the jig head, just down from it there. Now the next thing we're going to be adding to it is this synthetic hair here, and what I usually do, I just find me a nice patch of it and I just pinch it up just like so, just like it's right here. See where we're at with it, and I want it to come to right back to the back of this boat here, and allow that flashing to have a little room out past it right there. That looks pretty good right there. There we go. That looks good. Remove some of that loose fiber from the front. Then we're going to bump it right up against that jig head. And we're going to give it a couple of tight wraps here. About 3. seat it down, and then at this point I'm going to push toward the jig head a little, and I'm going to bring this over the shank of that hook. Just work at just work at hair over the shank of that hook some. There we go. And then we're going to go ahead and build this collar up. There we go. That's looking good. And now we want to get some more flashing here. And we're going to go about 4 strands on each side of this jig right here. So we'll pick us out about 4 strands for each side. What I like doing is keeping it flush. I wet my fingers and I rub it down as much as possible to see where I'm at. And then I'm going to lay this right down the side of that jig, and I'm going to bring it right back to where that tail flashing is at. Right there, looks good. I'm going to lay it right on the side of that collar. And I'm going to give it like 3 wraps. And then I'm going to take the rest of it and I'm going to bring it right back and do the same thing. Lay it right down the side of that jig. And then I'm going to give it about 3 wraps or 4 to lock it in. And then this is the point that we cut the excess off. Just eyeball it. And then we're going to repeat the same process on the other side. See which one is the best here. It's got less springiness in it. Which side? I want to even this up here a little. There we go. Just even it up a little. That way we'll get a pretty good measurement on it. That looks good right there. So I'm just going to lay it right on the side of that jig. Pull my thread out some. I'm going to give it again about 3 wraps. Just lock that in just like so. And then I'm just going to bring the excess back. Loop it back. Press it right up against that jig. And then I'm going to give it the final wraps here. This is the point right here where I'll go ahead and get my collar built up. Back halfway, back toward the front. And that's pretty good right there. Now, just like with the other one, we're going to give it a good eyeball. I'm going to cut him off there. And now there's nothing left but to whip finish this. And I'm going to do 5 turns on it. There we go. Then I like grabbing my thread and don't break it, but just seat it down real good before I cut it off here. Now what I'm going to be using is some UV resin, and I really like this. I got 4 ounces of this at Hobby Lobby, and I did buy some of the smaller bottles off of Amazon, but this was a great deal right here. I got 4 ounces of this, the hard type clear, and it does really dry clear. I used it on a couple of other jig heads, And you can just see I put the eyes on with this UV resin, and it works great. You can get it for like 14 bucks for 4 ounces of it at Hobby Lobby. And I'm going to put one little drop right on top of this jig head right here. That's enough. And then I'm going to put one little drop right on that thread. And all this is going to do is protect. I'll put that back on in a second. All that's going to do is just protect that jig head. And I got some little brushes out of the crafts at Walmart for like $1. And I'm just going to go around this jig head here, just painting this resin on here, this glue. Making sure I get all over the jig head, and then I'm just going to wrap right around the collar with the rest of it. There we go. And as for your paintbrush, when you want to get done using this, all you got to do is get your little piece of aluminum foil, wrap it up, and it'll be ready for the next tie. Now I'm going to hit this with a UV light just to get it dried up. And a lot of times, even though I hit it with a UV light, if it's a sunny day, I'll just take my jigs out and just let the sun hit them for a minute or two, and that's guaranteed that these bad boys is going to be dried up and ready to go. But I'll just give it a couple of spins. There we go. And we are done. The little blue Glacier tie that we had right here, it's got a lot of crystal flash in it that just makes it pop out with that light blue or that baby blue jig head there. Nice little simple tie, great for like crappie. And this again, I'm going to be throwing this as well for those white bass when they start running in the spring. I hope you check the playlist out down below. Got some more nice jigs that we tied up down there. Also some videos on pouring some jig heads and how to remove the collars. And I hope you liked the video, guys. If you did, I hope you give us a thumbs up. I hope you subscribe to our channel. Hit that notification bell. We got a whole lot more coming down the line here at Hills and Gills. Also follow us over on Facebook, Instagram. And guys, stay safe out there on the water. And we'll see you right here in the next one. Have yourself a great day.